Here are today's episode highlights.
Hang on to your hats and glasses, because this here's our wildest ride in the wilderness. Oh my God, no, you didn't.
See how our teenagers are going into now getting older, driving, getting out there, and then almost on their way to college, right? And so,
who taught us how to drive?
Yes.
I mean, they're all
Mexican style. Did you wait till you were 16?
I know. We're going to talk about that.
Mexican style. What?
Mexican style.
Back in the ranch or something?
See? In the rancho.
Claro.
For me, it was a ticket to freedom.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just kept thinking, you know what? All I want to do is get the fuck out of East LA and go conquer the world.
I bet there was a lot of guys on that
was a lot of guys
line
to
that
the
were
rescue.
like,
I'm
that
like,
wanted to pop it.
Who wants to pop it for me?
I'm like, all I need is a little push so I can pop this baby.
Carcacha,
It was
paso a
a
pasito, no dejes de tambalear. We've all had a carcacha.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine an East LA girl que
Sí.
nunca he manejado en mi vida. I was so nervous of scratching her car that I didn't pass the test.
the car that they want, the driving, and the phones.
I know, because do you really think they're going to be driving las carcachitas que nosotras manejamos?
No.
We need to teach our kids because once they're away from home and they're doing their own thing, they're on their own.
Que Dios los
Yeah,
cuide.
that's that-
Like, I get cut off by the kids from that school.
Yeah.
And I reported them.
Yeah.
I am that mom.
One thing I hate doing, putting air in my tires.
Oh, yeah, me
I
too.
hate that. So I just pull up to a tire shop.
I don't know how to
and
do
I
that.
just go,
Yo no sé.
hi,
Oh,
can
I've
you
done it
check
many
the air
times.
on my tires?
I start honking.
Yes.
I start honking.
Oh, you're the honker.
I'm
I'm a honker and a yeller and
I'm
a
the cursor.
It's a contract.
Yes.
And so I need to be very, very clear that these are the rules of you driving so that they're clear and I'm clear and the consequences of breaking those rules.
I'm a very proud driver. I have to say, I think I'm a good driver.
No, I think you're driving an old lady.
See, yo sé. I knew she was going to say that.
We have to let them grow.
I know.
We
Yes.
have to let them be independent.
Are we ready to let them drive? And we just have to be able to trust them, trust our gut, and trust Jesus.
Diosito.
God, Lord.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Hey girl, welcome. We've been waiting for you.
Bienvenida. We are four comadres, and we are so excited to have you here. I am Argelia.
I am Mindy.
I am Diana.
And I'm Janet.
This is Comadres Unfiltered. Salud! Here we are again. How about that?
Love
That's
it.
right.
We're back. Love that.
And yes, it is coming. We have a meeting officially with, ¿cómo se les llama?
Our merch
A
guy.
merch guy.
Our merch designer.
No, en español decimos el de la merca. El de la merca ya viene.
That sounds really like, dangerous.
I know, pero así se dice la mercancía. Pues la mercancía
sí,
de Comadres
the
Unfiltered. I don't know
merchandise.
what
Pues
you're
sí.
thinking.
We're ready.
The merch.
I'm just going to say one thing. Buckle up, comadritas. Literally, buckle up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You get it?
Yes.
Buckle up.
I know you did there. Buckle up. Hang on.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Oh, yeah. I just remember that Disneyland ride. Hang on to your hats and glasses, because this here's our wildest ride in the wilderness. Oh, my God. No, you didn't. Comadritas, I got better. Cute, deep
Breath.
Respiren profundo.
Hi.
We need a drink. Or no, not in this case. We cannot.
No drinking and driving.
Exactly.
You can't mix that together with drinking and driving.
Oye,
I'm serious.
ahorita las camaritas are like, what are they talking about? If you haven't gotten it yet, I mean,
I think they saw the title of the
yo creo
episode,
que ya
so
saben, ¿verdad?
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. But if you know, you know.
We're dragging.
We're
right
dragging
now.
and we're driving and our teens are about to get behind the wheel. Ay.
Oh my God, that is so freaking
Getting
scary.
closer, getting closer.
Getting closer.
That's really
Ay, ay, ay.
what we're talking about. We're getting closer. Right now, we're going to make our rounds and see who's going to be the first mommy to actually put that kid to the test. ¿Cuál será?
boy.
¿Cuál será? But you know what? When we were planning this episode about teen drivers, like, who really is ready? The teens or the parents? The mamas, ¿verdad?
Right.
Because honestly, yo no sé dónde se va el tiempo, se va volando. I still remember looking back at the car seat
Yes.
and looking at Cami and Bella. A few tantrums. We're like,
Yeah.
I want to get out. And
Yeah.
then, they threaten that they're going to open
yeah.
the door because they were going through a tantrum. We all been through that.
Did you guys
Oh,
ever
yes.
put the mirror, the little mirror?
Yes, the little
Yes,
mirror.
yes,
Back of the
babies.
car?
Yes, yes.
The big ass SUVs. to see like
Yes.
the whole group of kids back there.
Yes,
Exactly.
you have to keep an eye on them. But that's the beautiful thing, right? We remember those like Okay, todo bien allá. We're almost there. We're almost there. And now it's like they're behind the wheel. And that's even more
Well,
scary.
they're going to be behind the wheel. I mean, we haven't actually experienced it yet.
But
Not yet,
the
not yet, but we're
conversation
close.
has
It's getting closer.
started.
Yes.
The conversation has started.
And I think that's what we're talking about it today because it was a conversation that we had in our personal lives, like off camera. And we were just like, you know what? Another comadritas are going through this exact thing as us. And we're not going through it the same way that we went through it, right?
Oh, right.
Very different. And so we wanted to discuss it today and see how our teenagers are going into now getting older, driving, getting out there, and then almost on their way to college, right? And so it's just like the
Oh my
driving
God,
is
one
that
thing at a time.
Yeah,
Let's not talk about
Now we're
college
rushing
just
it.
I know,
yet.
I know.
Let's reverse a little bit.
Yeah, Jana, you're getting ahead of yourself.
But you know what? That's like
Yeah.
what it is for me. I'm like, I see them driving and I see them driving off.
In the next 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so
for us.
driving for me is that first step for them, like stepping away from us into their own independence.
I know and it hurts, and
it hurts. I'm excited for them, right? It's bittersweet. Like you want to build that for them, right? You want to build children who are independent.
Yes.
And who are self-sufficient.
You aim for that.
Yes, that's
Every
what we
day
want to.
you're
That's
trying
what
to
we're
promote that, right?
Exactly.
Independence.
That's what we're raising. But then when they do it, I'm like, wait.
Hold on. You don't have to drive right away.
Yes.
You know, I still have time to take you, right?
Right.
Yes. See you around.
Yeah.
But how about where we started driving?
Well,
right?
that's the thing.
Those
We're
are the
gonna
stories.
dissect this a little bit because I know that Goma has whenever we get scared or we don't like something or we're like freaking out, Mindy style. I know.
I know. Ya van a empezar otra vez.
Exacto.
Qué
Mindy style.
exageradas.
Qué exageradas. But we're gonna discuss so many. Like, what was our first car?
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna take it back to our era.
That's gonna be
Like, how old were we when we actually were learning driver's ed when it was free in high school? I don't think they
Yeah.
offer that anymore
They
in high
had
school.
that for free.
For free.
They took that away. That
Yes.
sucks.
Really?
Yes,
They don't
they
offer it
did.
anymore?
No, you
now
gotta
we have to
pay.
for it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl.
God.
Public schools have changed.
It used to be 0 period, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, I don't think they offered it at my school. I still had to pay. It
Well,
was
because
Bob's
you're younger.
driving school.
You're
in
younger than
Reseda.
us. Our generation
yeah.
still got it for
Because
No,
free.
I'm not younger. She's the youngest, but yeah, no, I had to pay.
You went to private school.
I went to
that's why.
private school.
Everything's
Yeah,
free.
yeah, I
We went
know.
to public.
We went to
Yeah.
public.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you where
I
I
didn't know
learned. But we're
that.
going to talk about that. Obviously, like, who taught us? Who taught us how to drive?
Yes,
I mean, they're obviously
Mexican style. Did you wait till you were 16?
I know. We're going to talk about that.
Mexican style. What?
Mexican style.
Back in the ranch or something?
See, in the rancho.
claro.
With the truck. I learned how to drive. Well, we'll get
We'll
to
get
that.
to your
Also,
story.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
And you know what would be cute too? Somehow in this episode or even on social media, we're going to share a picture of our very first car. Do you guys have a picture of your very first car?
I think so. Somewhere.
You don't? Okay, or one of your very 1st
I'll find a
cars.
picture on the
I'll find a
internet.
We're gonna share that.
Yes.
Because let's talk about like how was that experience of getting our first car? Like who paid for it? Did you pay for it? How did you pay for it?
Yes.
And then obviously we're gonna talk about how expensive it is now to buy our kids' cars, insurance. O sea, tantas cosas que
Things have changed so
Everything
much.
has changed.
Yeah.
So where do we want to start? I mean, this was inspired because, can we say?
Yes.
Because of Mindy.
Yes.
I'm going through that right now.
Literally.
Yes.
It
And
is
I feel for you.
nerve-wracking, let me tell you. Oh, so we'll get to that because I have so much to talk to you girls about to prepare you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
for all these
Ay,
all this,
ay,
all
ay.
this driving activity that's going
Thank
to be
God
coming
Mindy's
up.
a little bit older than us and
I know.
has experienced a lot of
Yes.
these things before us.
That's what it is.
I'm here to help, comadritas. I'm
Thank
telling
you.
I'm
The
here
comadres
to
at
help.
every level. I
Yes,
love it.
every
And for the
stage.
younger
Everything.
ones so that they are ready when they get to our level.
I know,
right?
I love it. But you know what's interesting? Before we get to our kids' experience, let's just take it back to our stories, right? I
Yeah.
mean, let's go there. So let's go around the table and share how old were we when we first learned how to drive and what was that first car? And maybe just a funny anecdote if you have with that first car, just to kind of like
think
laugh a
that's-
little bit.
I think that's funny. Let's start
Right?
with Janet.
All right. Let's see. So
see.
my first, I actually got my driver's license when I was 16, but I didn't get my car until I was a senior in high school. And my parents saved up for it and they surprised me a little after my birthday, my 18th birthday, and they got me the Mustang that I wanted. So I had a red Mustang.
Red?
Yes. It was a red Mustang.
The ones that make a lot of noise?
No, it was like
Yeah.
the 90s. It was like a late 90s.
Okay.
You know, I was 99, 98.
So was this a brand new car? Or
No, it
gently
was
used?
a year or two old,
Okay.
you know,
No, that's
but
pretty
still was
newish.
pretty new.
See?
And you know, I look back and I think of my parents and the way that they worked their finances. And honestly, I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they did it. They saved everything. My dad is so resourceful and he surprised me with that car. And that was really, really, really special. Learning how to drive was kind of funny because my mom is a nervous wreck and she's a yeller, like I'm a yeller, you know? So everything was like, you know? And when she used to take showers, I used to take the car around the block.
Oh, wait, so you never took driver's ed in school?
I did, but I earlier than that because I wanted to learn and I
Okay.
wanted to
Before
keep
driver's ed.
practicing and also to keep practicing, right? Because you
Right.
need to practice.
Yeah.
So yes, I did take driver's ed. It was 0 period at LUSD because that's where I went to school, and there was 0 period, and we went and did the whole class, took it, the whole thing. But to keep practicing, I used to take my mom's car around the block. And then
Did she know that you took her car, or did you just
no, she knew
grab
much
the
later.
keys?
I think I finally told her about a year ago.
So you were a little
I'm
sneaky.
not joking. There are
You
a lot
were
of
a little
things.
sneaky.
Yeah, I was sneaky. But you know, it didn't work so much because I want to say that first year, my senior year, this is really bad, and this is part of our fears, right? Because they're learned fears. My senior year, I want to say that May, right before graduation and when prom is happening and like everything's in your head, I'm getting ready for college. I got in 4 accidents.
What?
That
Oh my god, month?
1 month.
Wait.
1 month.
One
Four
month,
accidents.
Oh
Four
my
accidents.
gosh!
Yikes.
I should have been. That car should have been taken away. Really, truly.
You're the reason why insurance rates are so
Thank you.
high.
It's all because of Janet.
That's a lot.
Percent.
Did your parents know about these accidents? Like, were
Well,
these
they
like?
knew about 2.
Oh my gosh, you lied.
They knew about 2 because I ended up rear-ending a guy, and I had just had another car accident. I was like, sob story, the whole thing. And he's just like, okay, let's see what we do. Maybe we can do it out of pocket. Let me see how much it's gonna be. 4 days later, he calls me and he says, listen, you're off the hook. Somebody else rear-ended me in this exact same place. So I'm just they have insurance and we're going to go through that.
You
So
got
don't worry
lucky.
about
So
that.
lucky.
Yes.
got lucky.
But the other ones they did, they were very like small fender benders. It was distraction, right?
See.
I didn't have phones, but it was probably, like makeup or I don't know
You
what
were
it
probably
was.
reading the directions that we had to print out,
Thomas guide?
or
Was it the
changing to
Thomas
CDs.
guy, the Thomas
Or maybe some hot
guy.
guy on the road or
Waze?
something?
No, wait. What was that? That printout?
She was like,
Yeah, that was
It was like the map quest. yes.
MapQuest.
No, MapQuest.
You had it
Yeah.
printed out before.
Or you had your binder of CDs that you were
Yes.
going through,
You know what? I keep
All of
forgetting
those.
that she didn't experience the Thomas guide,
But
but
we did.
We did.
Oh,
I had a
She's
little bit
MapQuest.
of Thomas
I
Guide, but
knew
we
that
had MapQuest.
Thomas
Yeah,
guide
me
like
too.
the
The
palm of my
pages.
hand.
I highlighted
If
it.
you,
the whole thing,
well,
yeah.
I was a reporter at Telemundo, so you have to know how to
yes.
read the
That's
Thomas guide in order to
right.
get to,
To your
those coordinates.
assignments,
And that's
yes.
how I know the entire city of LA. Is alguien me dice dónde está eso? Oh, I know where that's at because of the Thomas guide,
Guide.
which is very different from Google Maps and Apple nowadays.
Yes, it was MapQuest. It was basically
easy now.
printing out,
See? And carrying the sheets.
directions.
Carrying the
Yeah,
sheet.
yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it.
so that was my story. That was my story. But that's why we're freaking out about these kids. I'm like,
Sí.
I considered myself a really good kid. That good accidents.
4 accidents in 1 month.
1 month.
Good of character,
Wow.
bad in driving.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this really quick before we go to Dee's story. How many accidents total have you had so far?
I don't remember.
Oh my gosh, Janet.
That's not a good sign.
But the
Not a good
last
sign.
15 years, I haven't had an accident.
Okay, that's good.
in the past
So
13?
in the past 15 or maybe 20 years, like
Oh,
it was
okay.
all in my teens
See.
and my early 20s. Like when I was in college, and even the one in my 20s, I was rear-ended, so that wasn't my fault. But no, I have not been in an accident. I'm very, especially since I've had my kids. I'm a
See.
very defensive driver.
See.
I'm very, very worried on the road, and so I'm a lot more alert.
When you're with your kids.
Yes.
But I've been on that car with you. And I'm
Pero no
sorry.
accidente.
No, yo voy así like. I'm like, oh my God, Janet, please. But you're a great driver.
I am a good driver.
You're a great driver.
I'm a very defensive
I admire,
driver.
pero
Yes.
eres bárbara.
Yeah.
Yo sí voy con el Jesús en la boca con esta
Yeah.
mujer.
Yeah.
Sí.
I am. Eres una
She's
trabancadita.
good. She's good.
She
yeah.
is good. She
Yeah,
is good.
but when the kids are in the car, I'm
Yeah.
very.
You
slow
I
down.
say you slow down.
You have to.
Yeah.
You're setting an example, which we'll talk about that as
Precious
well.
cargo, right?
Yes.
Cargo. I like
All
that.
right. What
That was a good
about
story.
D?
My turn. Okay, so I learned how to drive probably when I was like 14 because my dad, we would go camping up in like Bishop, Big Pine area. And my dad used to like to go into like these areas like where there was nobody there. And he'd be like, "Ten, mija, here are the keys to my truck." And so he'd be sitting next to me and be like, "Ten, llévate la camioneta." And they were just like open roads. So like there was nobody there and they were usually
Nobody
like
to
dirt
hit.
roads, nobody to hit. And then he'd be like, "Sácale a los hoyos, sácale a los hoyos." So I'd be driving his pickup truck. And I think that's why I gained confidence because now I can drive a truck like
yeah.
nothing.
And you look
handle that
good.
truck.
Thank you.
look
Yes.
Diana la trailera. Prácticamente,
She looks
because it's a
good.
big truck. But like the
Yes.
other day, it looks
Yeah.
so good on you.
Oh, well,
you look hot in that.
Thank you.
big
Thank you. And I feel
black
really
truck.
confident driving a truck. In fact, I don't even like sedans or two-seaters
See.
or small cars. Like I hate little cars.
I
I'm
don't
like,
see
give
you
me
in
a
those.
truck or an SUV, okay?
Give me a big car.
So my SUV
With
I
the
know,
big
a
joystick.
big-
The big tires. Yeah.
The big tire. Oh, I love the big tires. But yeah, my first car was actually a 1988 cherry red Chevy Blazer. It was a
What?
two-door. It was a two-door Chevy Blazer. It was
Chevy
super
Blazer.
cute. Yeah, it was really
Those
cute.
were pretty hot back in the time,
Back in the day. So this was
Chevy
in
Blazer.
1997 when I got my first car,
was
right
gonna
after
say.
graduation.
You were 18.
So I was 18, so
Okay.
I got my first car. So same thing. My parents like put together their money, and it wasn't an expensive car. I mean, not even at the time, but it was what my parents could give me, and I felt safe, and I loved it. To me, it was like independence. Like,
Yes.
woo, this is my
Yes.
car. It's cherry red. It's cute.
Cherry
it just
red.
felt so perfect for me, and I loved it. But also see, like every time I'd make a left turn, the windshield wipers would go like I don't know why, or it would break down. There were so many times I was like stranded at school at CSUN in the parking lot because my
boy.
car wouldn't turn on or whatever. But it was like it gave me character, and I loved my little car. I went to Big Bear one time, like on a snow trip, and I was so like I felt so good in my just because it was an SUV truck and whatever. So, but yeah, that's how I learned how to
Two
drive.
red cars. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Any
Or
accidents?
My first accident was I was in a tight parking lot and I tried to squeeze between like two cars and I kind of just scraped a car and I felt horrible. I remember going home and like I was so scared to tell my dad. I was so scared. I was crying and so mortified. But he was like, "Okay, pues la próxima vez no hagas eso." And I was like, "Okay." But I've only been in one accident and it wasn't my fault. And this was about 10 years ago. Like somebody made a left turn like in front of me and we just kind of collided. But I wasn't hurt or anything, but my brand new Range Rover was hurt. Oh, that hurt the most. But no, knock on wood.
Qué bueno.
No accidents.
So they
No
say that in
accidents.
life, I don't know, I read this a while back, so maybe statistics have changed, but they used to say that it's very normal for 3 accidents to be the average amount of accidents per person.
I'm above average, girl.
You're above average. Always
average.
above average. Always.
She's an overachiever this one.
1 month. Right? It only took 1 month to score the 3.
You literally went above average in 1 month when it should be in a
Janet,
lifetime.
the overachiever, Janet.
Girl, the study is 3 accidents in a lifetime, not in a month.
That's it. I'm the outlier. I'm the outlier of that study. Yeah.
Y tú, Coma, a ver, cuéntanos tus. Okay, I have a feeling that Coma Mindy's gonna give us some.
Just
some
don't ask me
stories.
what year it was when I first started driving because goddamn, it's been so freaking long that I can't remember that part.
But you were probably in high school or after.
No.
after high
I
school?
started to drive right around 15
Okay.
or maybe even younger. But my father used to always take me with him. Like, let's learn how to drive. And even before I had driver's ed. So by the time I started driver's ed, I already knew a little bit,
Yeah.
how to handle the wheel in the car. And I got to tell you, driver's ed in high school was so much freaking fun.
It was. I remember.
I mean, our teacher was so much fun. I think there was like 4 kids stuffed in the back of the little car, one in the front, and then the instructor.
Garfield High.
Garfield High.
Okay. Garfield High.
Little car, right? Small, with signs all over it. Student driver on top. It was so embarrassing. So everybody was crushed in the back seat, and then we all took turns, right? So we would go around the block and, there in East LA up and down the streets. And it was very nerve wracking because some of those students sucked. They're
Really?
so bad. I'm like, oh my God.
Diosito. Cuídanos.
Please save me. I was so,
Janet.
I was so, I know, from the Janets out there.
The Janets of the world.
The Janets of the world, please, God help. So it was very nerve wracking, but also we had a lot of laughs, right? So I kind of graduated from that class. I got my certification, and I was so happy because I couldn't wait to drive. For me, it was a ticket to freedom.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just kept thinking, you know what? All I want to do is get the fuck out of East LA and go conquer the world, right? Because I knew that the world was big. I'm like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
This shit ain't it. I want to get out. I want to get out. And my parents really never took us to the beach. So my dream was to one day be able to jump on the freeway and actually get to the beach somehow, some way through my stupid Thomas guide.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got to highlight this shit.
Yeah, with the
and I trained my brother. You got to read it to me. You got to tell me exactly how long it's going to be until the exit. You have to let me know. So
Yeah, it was, mind you, we didn't have like ETAs.
Right.
No.
Like aquí no, ya sabemos like, 30 minutes, 45.
30,
Aquí no, aquí es como, okay, well.
when is it coming up, right?
Yes.
We don't know.
Yeah,
is
you
it
don't
the next
know.
exit or is it 5 exits away? We
Yes.
didn't know. Everything was so weird. The distances, right? So let me rewind a little bit. So when I turned 15, one of my quinceañera gifts was a car.
Okay.
Oh,
I got that
gosh.
for my quince, and goddamn, that car was such a piece of shit. It was so bad.
What was it?
It was a yellow Volkswagen.
Okay.
But not the bug type. Okay.
'Cause those are cute.
It was a station wagon, the one that had the seat in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And the motor was in the back as well.
Oh.
And then I had to hit it once in a while.
Oh,
Cluck, cluck, cluck. It was a little engine like this. It was crazy. And then my dad taught me how to hit it, right? Like how to pop it. It was a stick shift.
You had to pop it.
So I learned on a stick shift, by the way. That's pretty
yeah,
badass.
that's badass.
Yeah,
That's
hey,
badass.
talk about it. I have a story with that.
See.
Okay, so I learned on a stick shift. So my father, he said, hey, listen, this is all I could afford, I think it cost him a couple $100. I don't know, but it's a car that he bought. I think it was a junk, and they put like a little motor in it, and it was yellow. Just picture this, a yellow car with gray patches all over it, because he says, well, it needs a little paint job. One day I'll save up for the paint job, but it's drivable. It's going to get you from point A to point B. Once in a while, you're going to be stuck on the road. So just make sure that you get some guys to help you push it. And then I'm going to show you how to pop it. And I'm like, wow.
That sounds funny, huh? I want to show you how to pop it.
Yeah, how to like punch it in so you can start all over again, right? So I became a little professional in like carrying a couple tools to like, hit the back
Oh
and let's
my
get it started.
goodness.
And yes, I did go cruising in that piece of shit car over in Rosemead. That was a hot spot, cruising at Rosemead.
Back in the
It
day.
was Rosemead Boulevard. All the teens would go there. It was the biggest hot spot. And everybody would just cruise around and look at each other from car to car.
Yeah.
And boy, I had no shame. I didn't even care. I'm like, I'm driving with this piece of shit car, but look at me. I don't give a shit.
Exacto.
And it's got the 4 wheels. I'm cruising here.
It's got 4 wheels.
I know, it's got
love
4
it.
wheels.
As long as it has the standard.
And let me tell you, I
You know?
got stuck in that cruising one time. By
But
the way,
I bet there was a lot of guys on that
was a lot of guys
line
to
that
the
were
rescue.
like,
I'm
that
like,
wanted to pop it.
Who wants to pop it for me?
I'm like, all I need is a little push so I can pop this baby, right? And then there we go. And none of my friends.
That sounds hilarious.
None of my friends.
That's gonna be a tease.
What?
All I need is a little push so I can pop this baby.
Right? Push it real good.
I know, you guys have to go there, right?
Okay.
But what an adventure! Like I didn't really give a shit how ugly that fucking thing was. I was like,
love
this
it.
is gonna take me places.
Yes.
And then another short story. My first time driving the freeway was so exciting.
That's another one.
I had all my brothers, my mom, and one of my cousins in the car. And I put my brother in charge of the Thomas guide. I said, listen, we are going to go to the beach.
Aww.
We're going to go to the beach. And I still remember my mom holding this big watermelon at the beach. And the towels in the back. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but guys, échame agua. Like, I was like, please make sure I don't hit another car as I'm merging into the freeway. So I did it. I went in there. I was like 16 years old, and I went in that freeway, and I went to Venice Beach. I'll never forget. I took Venice Boulevard off the freeway. I exited. I'm like, yes, I'm here, Venice. So all the way. It was amazing.
The East LA girl made a Venice
Made it
Beach.
to Venice Beach.
You know what
And it
song?
was the happiest days of my life.
I love
You know
it.
what's playing in my head right now? Carcacha.
Carcacha.
It was.
Paso pasito, no dejes de tambalear. We've all had a carcacha.
Oh, yeah.
And listen, that carcancha got you to the beach.
It really did. And
It took you out of our little
really
space, our little
did.
area that we grew up
And
in.
then it took me to Hollywood. Like I dreamed about, let's go to the Sunset Strip. Let's go check out, Hollywood Boulevard and places where my parents wouldn't normally take me. I said, I want to go there. So having that piece of shit car was everything.
Yeah.
Everything for me. It just gave me freedom.
Eso es. That's exactly what it gave me. For me, it was freedom. I mean, my mom never drove. You know that story. And
Yes.
my dad left, so we literally grew up on buses. It was buses o a pata.
Yeah.
You know, era caminar.
Como rancho.
Sí, no,
Estás
for
en el rancho.
everything. Supermarket, lavar la ropa. Era de...
Oh,
yeah, we
really?
were that
You carried
family
the-
de
Oh, my
traer el
God.
carrito de fierro.
Yeah.
And drag it around the
Yeah.
blocks for the supermarket and single moms, right? And for everything. So for me, it was I was just tired of dragging the freaking little carrito de fierro.
Yeah.
On Cesar Chavez and Atlantic just to go wash and just supermarket, rainy days. Like,
Oh, I see.
so for me, era freedom for sure. Like, man, I cannot wait to drive. Freedom, freedom, freedom. And just to be able to not suffer that way. Porque si era mucho sufrimiento. And when you're a teen, te da vergüenza.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, me va a ver el vecino. And then I had a little crush on a neighbor down the street. Me va a ver él. I was gonna say his name right now, but I was like, no, I will not say his name. Sí, con el carrito. So it was in Pomona where I learned how to drive, kind of. Ganesha High School, that's when I had my little short stint in Pomona. Estuve ahí un año. That's where I met Ralph, my bestie.
Pomona.
And that's where they offered driver's ed. Y dije, de aquí soy. I am gonna learn
So
how
how
to
old were
drive.
you when you actually took the lessons?
16?
16?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think you have to be
so you were
16.
young.
I think you have to be 16 to take driver's ed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I had just turned 16. I took driver's ed, the theory portion, and then the whole experience behind the wheel. Pero sabes que? I think I only took that one experience one time in the car, but it was really el esposo de mi madrina, Tony, if they're watching, because I know they listen too. So he's the one that took me to Ganesha High School on a weekend. The parking lots for our schools are massive.
Yes.
Y me dijo, aquí
Good
te
place.
aprendes porque aquí aprendes. And he really was my patient teacher. And he taught me the ropes of the basics of driving. And that for the very first time I was behind the wheel in his car, me pongo nostálgica because I feel like that should have been my dad. You know, that should have been my dad's role. And he wasn't around, but it was my Tony, and I'll always thank him for that. And that's where I lost the fear. But even so, I didn't drive until until I was in college.
Wow.
I don't know how in the world I did it, girls. During all my high school years for work and school, it was either walking or bus, the RTD back then. But when I got to college, dije, lo primero que voy a hacer is I'm going to work on campus so I can save my pennies and buy myself a car because I wanted to go back to East LA on the weekends. So I had to depend on rides.
Yeah.
I had to depend on the neighbor.
So you were still dragging around shit to the laundromat or when you went to go shopping?
Y dije,
until that age?
Esto tiene que parar. I'm like, this reality has to stop. So I saved up all my little checks. Aquel entonces, when you do work study, what is it, $100 a week?
Yeah. Minimum
Girls,
pay.
yo nomás ocupaba $1,000. I just need $1,000 to go to some junkyard and buy myself una carcacha. I just need to get from LMU to East LA and take my mom on the weekends to the supermarket and, just do the basic stuff. And so I did. I raised $1,000 y un fin de semana, I don't even know how I did it. Solita me fui a downtown LA on the bus. I was desperate. Desperate. Yo ya estaba ya no aguantaba. I can't.
How old were you?
I'm already 18, girl.
Okay.
I'm already 18. And I'm like, I need a car. I cannot be depending on, y me da vergüenza pedir rides. So, but before then, I still had to get my driver's license. So while I was looking for a car, I told my roommate.
Oh my goodness. So you didn't even have your driver's license
I didn't have a
at
driver's
18.
license at 18.
Wait, so you got the car and then you got your driver's license?
I passed the driver. I
Okay.
passed the driver's ed.
Okay.
That was easy.
Right.
Yeah.
took off to college years later. Started to look for cars, and I said, "Oh crap! I think I need to go get the driver's license." And one weekend, my roommate lent me her. Hear me out. She's like, "Here, just take my keys. Así como let them have cake."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, "Here, really cool girl, Carol. I love you. Here, just take my keys." Red convertible BMW.
Ooh.
It was her graduation gift.
Oh, wow.
Brilliant student from Notre Dame. She was the one that introduced me to the Valley. I had never been here. And she just said, "Here, just take my keys." I passed the driver's test in a red convertible Beamer
In style.
del año.
Wow.
So imagine an East LA girl que nunca he manejado en mi vida. I was so nervous of scratching her car that I didn't pass the test.
You didn't pass
Didn't pass the test. I was so nervous of driving her expensive, luxurious Beamer que se me olvidó todo. And I was like, that's it. It's over. And she's like, you're going to go back again and you're going to take the car again. And second time around, I passed it. And I passed my, so hear me out. I passed my test with the red convertible Beamer del año. And I ended up buying, with $1,000, a 1989 Honda Accord.
Wow.
Oh, those are good cars.
Two-door
It was a
or
good
four-door?
car.
Those are dependable
4 doors.
cars. Okay.
Yeah.
No, sorry, 2-door. Ya me acordé. 2-door.
cute.
It was a
Yeah.
4-door. Ya ni me acuerdo. I'm going to look at the picture.
Yeah.
Pero the thing is that I bought it by myself.
I love that.
Y un chinito era el dueño, by the way. El chinito me vendió su carro in the junkyard. I found it. Does it work? Does it move? Okay. It was automatic.
Automatic.
And that finally I had freedom. Like you said, I had freedom and I was the happiest girl on earth.
Oh, I love that.
Porque ya no podía. Finally. It was insane. Well,
Finally, me pueden llevar la marqueta.
Yes. So this car on the weekends, well, ahí te va. I was just happy to have a car, finally to come back and forth. But then I became the errand girl for everything. Que la marqueta, que la lavandería. And it was,
You were the
it was
Uber.
fine. I became the Uber.
Back
And
in the
it's
day.
fine. I was kidding. This is why I bought it. 6 months later, I got in an accident. You know, it wasn't my fault. I got rear-ended. And so what happens when it's not your fault and your insurance kicks in?
Your insurance goes up.
They gave me $2,000, girl.
Oh, they gave you.
Oh,
Yes.
so you made money.
I made money.
All right.
I went to therapy for,
Yes.
because sí me dolía. I got that whiplash.
sí.
Wow.
I got $2,000. I was like, okay, it's not bad. Invertí $1,000 en esta carcachita.
know.
And now, and now I'm getting 2,000 back. It's not bad.
Chingadazo
And
wasn't that
then
bad.
the thing with the stories that come up next, Argelia got into 4 more accidents.
No, actually, I upgraded to a Toyota Corolla. But get this, I bought this at an auction. But me emocioné tanto that I raised my freaking number.
You went to an auction.
I went to
Wait,
an
how
auction.
did you end up at an auction? That's so random.
I went to downtown LA
Wow.
with my $2,000 check. I went to an auction. I said, I'm going to get a better car.
Yeah.
Y yo no sé, la mensa de mí, they just said, Toyota Corolla, gray, almost
Going
brand
once,
new.
going twice.
Going once, going twice. Yo levanté el número and they're like, sold, da, 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 da. And I was like, en volteo yo, that's me. I get the car girls and it's thick.
Oh, it's not
a
automatic.
standard car.
You should have called Mindy.
I should have called. I wish I'd known you. And I couldn't return it. They said,
That's
you
an
bid on it.
auction.
That's
Oh.
it. I was stuck with it. And I was like, ¿y ahora qué hago? I didn't know how to drive it out of the lot. So I called back then. I called the guy that I was seeing at LMU. And I go, ¿qué hago? Don't worry. I'll send a guy over. So his friend ended up teaching me on a weekend.
Oh,
You
And
learned how to
I
drive
learned
stick?
how to drive stick
well,
on a
she had
weekend.
no choice.
I had no choice. I'm a baddie. Those hills of East LA
Ooh,
on Evergreen.
baddie, yeah.
That was my little school. Ahí voy para
Okay,
arriba.
that's
That's
cool.
Tepeyac. If you're from East LA, you know where Tepeyac burritos are.
I sure
that
do.
became my school because the toughest thing about driving a stick is
Yeah.
that how do you land the car
Uphill.
on a hill without going.
Yes, yes.
I learned it. No, not even a weekend. A day. En un día. Eso sí, todo el día.
So
Yeah.
nerve-wracking, babe. You made a great point.
I did.
You're on a hill. There's a car behind
yes.
you. You're like, do not tailgate
not-
me because I'm going to hit you.
Exactly.
You're like,
You're like, it's a
Uh-huh.
little maneuvering.
Horrible. Oh,
but
yeah.
once you get it,
Yeah, once you
you
get it.
feel so
Yeah,
freaking
it does.
powerful. Changing those gears on the freeway.
Yes.
I was a baddie. You know what? I haven't driven a stick since then, but I bet you anything that if I were to get on it, it
Yeah.
would come back to me.
Just go to
No.
Europe. Just go to
will
Europe.
come back to me.
When you rent a car in
I can
Paris.
attest to that.
It will come
I've
back,
rented
right?
cars in Europe.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it comes back.
The only cars in Tenerife when I went to Spain,
yeah.
Tenerife, were all stick shift. It was a Jeep, a Cherokee stick. And my good friend said that they don't have a regular automatics here. Nobody knew. My sister didn't know. My good friend Maggie didn't know. They're like, well, we don't know. I said, I do. So I saved the vacation. I said, don't worry, I gotcha.
You got it.
And I hadn't driven in many, many years. And when I got a hold of it, it was like, it all came back.
It came back.
Like riding a bicycle.
Well, you has to be.
Respingué un poquito at the beginning. I was like, got a little stuck and we're cracking our asses.
A little green, a little rusty.
Right? But after a few minutes, I'm like, I got this. This is so cool.
Se siente muy padre, no es por nada. And I feel very proud of going through that. I mean, it was meant to be. I don't know, pero por mensa me estanqué con ese carro, and now,
but you had to learn.
I learned it, and I did it. That was actually one of the very first life lessons that I'm like, if I can do this, I can do anything. Learning how to ride a bike by myself and learning how to drive a stick, to me is like, okay, bring it on, world. I'm ready for
right.
you. You know?
You just said something right now that, so we're going into the next phase, right? Which is the kids.
Yes.
But what you said, I'm so proud of myself because it was such an important thing to do in our lives. And now we're looking at our kids, right? And we're so stressed out.
So stressed out.
So stressed out. But that statement still rings true, which is for them, it's going to be a really big deal and a rite of passage and also a huge growth moment for them. And so all of those things we have to remember when they're going through the next phase, mixed in with all of our worries and mixed in with all the stress that we have as they go through this stage.
I know.
But there's so many parts to it, right? It's like the car that they want, the driving, and the phones.
I know, because do you really think they're going to be driving las carcachitas que nosotras manejamos?
No. Oh, Athena's already. Athena's
no way.
already like asking. My dad said he's going to get me the 2000s. What year are we in? Gosh,
We're
2026 Range Rover. I'm like, excuse me.
I don't even have that.
No, girl. I'm like, you could have the one I'm driving now, which is a vintage one. I was like, we'll just call it vintage. No way.
I mean, wow.
I mean, seriously.
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Emma has already started to talk about that, but it's I haven't even entertained. So my kids are 13 and 14, right? And my eldest, here's another thing, like that I didn't realize. We were all like wanted to drive like so soon
For desperation, for freedom, for need. It was a need.
Yeah, it was a
in
need.
LA.
We also
You need
wanted to.
transportation.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't get around without it.
It's something. But there are so many kids nowadays that are just not driving.
They're not.
They're not. I have a niece. My niece didn't drive until she was in her 20s, right? And so I didn't know where my kids are going to land. I didn't know if they were going to drive or not want to drive or want to be driven around, But my 14-year-old is showing a lot of interest in getting his driver's license.
Wow. That's how it
a
starts.
lot of interest.
That's how it starts.
And then the 13-year-old already has her car picked out, like where she's going to get her driver's license at. Like what, like she's like that, right? She's just like, this is how it's going to happen. I'm starting to save now for my car because this is what I want,
But at least you have a little cushion there. You have a little bit of time, more time.
Yes,
Time is
there's
going
a
to
little bit more
creep
time.
up so fast.
I don't have time.
Because I was there a year ago. Que llegue. Y mira, I'm already having that combo.
Exactly.
And Mindy is already
there.
here.
I am the one that's closest to that becoming reality, I have to say.
Yes.
How does it feel, Coma?
Let me tell you that. Wow. So my daughter just passed her written exam. She aced it.
Wow.
Okay.
She took a few test exams and she scored 100.
Nice.
Like she nailed it like no
She's
other.
ready.
Okay.
She has been ready, I think, for like a year now. I'm not even joking.
I believe it.
She's had the little paper handbook for about 6 months. She's been looking at it, studying it, asking questions while I drive. So I know that she was very well prepared because this girl looks at a car as a ticket to freedom. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. It doesn't mean that you're just going to get to just take off at any moment and come back home whenever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, having a car is going to give you freedom. It's going to give me more freedom. Right. Thank God. Right? I have to look at it that way also. I'm not going to be like the Uber all the time. Not that I mind. I mean, I've been enjoying our conversations in the car. I think we can all agree that it's precious time that we have with our daughters, right?
For sure.
Not only our daughters, but our kids.
Yeah.
It's just, it's wonderful when we can engage in, meaningful conversations during that drive time. So
it's that bonding time.
whenever they're not in with their little
Headphones.
headphones on, right? But my daughter has already a car picked out. her dad took her car shopping a couple times. She settled on a car, right?
Oh.
She wants a BMW. So yes, our kids don't want pieces of junk. I'll tell you that right now. It's okay that it's a few years old, but it's got to look decent.
Right.
They're not going to drive pieces of shit.
Alexa's not going to be out there popping it.
Thank God. See, this is the difference. I can't believe my father taught me how to pop a car in case I get stuck in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
I would die. I could never do that. I have to give my daughter a dependable car. I would be worried sick that she would have to ask a couple guys to pop her car.
You would probably give her your car and you take the car that has to be popped.
Yeah.
Like seriously, that would never happen.
Right.
But Mindy, also, we would never ask our parents for that BMW
No,
or
never.
anything
We
like that because
No.
we didn't see our parents driving those cars.
Right. Good
But
point.
now these kids are seeing us drive nicer cars.
Nicer cars.
We are in a very different situation
Different
than how
times.
we grew up. I've said it once and I said it again. We are not raising ourselves.
We're
Claro.
It's so
And
good.
honestly,
You know,
like
so
you
it's
say,
difficult.
status has changed. We've said it. It's about improving generation through generation, the lifestyle.
Right.
You don't want them to suffer or go through the trials and tribulations that we went, pop in the car, cargando la ropa de lavar en la calle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't want that for my daughters. And it's now, but we do have to say one thing that we as parents see so many road rage out there and so many accidents on the streets
Yes.
and the freeway that, of course, there are more cars on the road. There's definitely more cars on the road compared to what it was 20 years ago and 30 years ago. And there's one thing that we didn't have: phones.
Right.
Yeah.
Distractions.
This distraction
They're scary.
is the number one enemy of what deters me from having the conversation with my daughter, because
Right.
this we didn't have, girls. We were like focused on the road. Yeah, maybe la pestañita, the lipstick, but this was not
The
part of our
beeper, the
world.
beeper.
The beeper.
And that's why, the beeper, and that's why we want safe cars more than luxurious cars. We just want safety.
Yes.
We
That
want
you
safety.
you make a great point. There are so many cars, you now see, right, because of the internet and there's the safety protocols, right? And then you see all the testing, the cars that are getting tested with, getting into accidents at different, miles per hour. And then you're just like, okay, I see it. If I can, why wouldn't I put my kid in a really safe car? Because 16 through 19, there's I don't know what percentage it is, but it's a huge percentage of the kids that get into accidents are between those that age group.
Yeah.
And so, so it's just, it's tough because we think of like, what am I doing? I don't want to, give them too much.
Right.
But then also you want to put them in a car that's safe, so it's like the struggle. These are the guilt. This is the guilt that we have to deal with because we don't want to give them so much that they don't appreciate anything.
Exactly. That's the point.
Right?
Yes,
but
we
we
gotta
want to
meet
keep them
In the middle.
safe.
But how to make them be more responsible?
That's another thing.
Because they're still growing up. Their brains are still developing, so they think they're like invincible. They're
Right.
like, oh, I'm gonna be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
We were there.
I'll answer the call. Yeah, but we didn't have phones.
Exactly.
You made a really good point.
Yeah.
We didn't have these really great distractions. Not only that, but also as they get older, they start going to like parties.
Oh my
And the
gosh,
whole like
yes.
drinking and driving that they think they can tolerate it.
Yeah.
Or they're with friends that drink and drive. That's one of my biggest fears is
Yes.
like, listen, no questions asked.
Sweet.
If your friend comes and picks you up and you see that she's drinking,
Yeah.
no questions asked at all. You just call me. I don't care what time it is.
Yes.
I will go pick up
Yeah.
all your friends and take them home. I want you to live.
Well, see, let's talk about those limitations. If we're ready to finally have the conversation with our child and say, okay, let's meet in the middle. You're not going to have a junky car, but because we want safety.
Right.
But you're not going to have el carro del año. I mean, no. You got to earn that
There's
one
something
day.
in between.
You buy
Exactly.
it one day. You're going to have your own car, but you're going to work for it. And
Yes.
you're going to get it. For now, you got to like work with me here.
That's
but the
right.
thing is limitations. Like for me, because of this episode, I finally had a conversation last night with Omar. Because Camila has been very smart. She knows I'm not ready for the conversation. So guess who she's talking to? Con el papa.
Yeah.
her dad.
But Omar, luckily, fortunately, we're kind of on the same page. And he did say, listen, I want her to start to learn driver's ed. So this summer coming up, she will be taking that course, right? But she already knows that even if we get her a car, she's not driving by herself to school. Like, ya le dije, it's either dad or mom in the car, you driving, because you got to learn how to drive
Right.
so that when you
Right.
take off to college, we know that you're good.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're not driving by yourself in the car to school or anywhere. Like, mama y papa, as long as we pay for the car,
Yes.
you're going to have to just abide by those rules. And I was like, yes, I like that. Because
But how
girls-
long is that going to go? I mean, she could be 18 already. And
No,
just
high
a pro.
school. Up to, the high school, le quedan 2 años.
Yeah.
But the thing with me, girls, is that we've all seen it on the road. En la mañana yo la llevo a la escuela. And I love it, by the way. I love that little window. It's 20, 25 minutes on the road. And she's very open. And that's when we have our little bonding time. After school is a different story.
Oh, yeah.
Like
They
they're
don't talk.
stressed out.
They don't
They're
wanna talk.
tired.
No, they're
Yeah.
tired.
How
And
was school? They're
and
like
I get
silent.
It. Yeah, and I get it. I'm like, I keep hearing our podcast, you know?
Yeah.
And actually put our podcast. So they, and she listens.
How cute.
Because she'll comment on you girls. Oh, I love how Janet sounds. Oh, I love how Dee's laugh. Oh, I love it. So I love to hear her perspective.
Yeah.
But anyways, point is that I see the crazy stuff happening with these drivers coming out of her school.
Yeah.
Because it's happened to you.
It's happened. Like I get cut off by the kids from that school.
Yeah.
Oy.
And I reported them.
Yeah.
I am that mom. If I see a kid doing this and almost hitting cars
Yes.
with other kids inside their car and hitting kids from other cars, yes, I am that mom.
That's unsafe.
I told Cami, get those plates. I am going to report that child.
Yeah.
What I'm doing, I'm not being a Karen. I'm not being a party pooper. I am just trying to protect the kids from
And
that
hold
school.
them accountable.
Yes, they need to learn.
Yes.
The thing is that many parents, I'm going to say this, in many schools, I don't know, every family has their own rules. I get it. Y cada quien. But these kids, many of them, I'm not saying all of them, many of them feel entitled. Like they own
Yes.
the car, they don't even pay for it. They own the street, that's not even your street. They just feel like, let me show off amongst my friends that
Yes.
no, I'm sorry, hasta que se den en la torre.
And some of these cars, my God, I can't believe when
Oh,
I
and
drove
they're
into this
freaking-
high school, they are beautiful cars.
they
They are
are.
way better cars than,
Yes.
than me.
Well,
Most of the
I
adults,
say
I can't
Teslas, which I know
believe-
some Teslas are very economical, right? But I'm like, can you value the car that
But
your
economical means
parents...
30K, even the lowest. I mean,
Sí, yo
we're
sé.
talking, they have expensive.
Exacto.
I've seen Range Rovers, Broncos,
Yes.
brand new.
I've seen Mercedes and
I've seen
Beamers.
Mercedes
Yes,
and
Mercedes
Beamers
and
left
Beamers.
and right. I'm like,
algo
wow.
no cuaja aquí, because I take it back to our era where we were driving carcachitas.
and I think that's what
And
it
I need to
is.
stop doing that, right?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
we're like, but it's a different time. Okay, I get
different.
it. But still, they can be driving the most expensive car, Goma, but they need to learn responsibility.
They do.
And I'm sorry, that's where parents have to kick in. Si el papá y mamá,
And a lot of parents just don't know.
They don't even know.
what is happening when they're driving
Exactly.
like that. You
Yeah.
know,
And
and
yeah, how many
so things like what
don't
you
know.
did is super important because it takes a village to raise
Yes.
these kids.
Yeah.
And now we are so much more disconnected because we live in a big city, right? And we don't all know each other. When you're in a smaller town or a smaller school, you're like, look, Mike, I know your parents.
Yeah.
You better slow down. But you don't know these kids anymore. And they also don't know half the school, right? And so it just becomes a little bit easier to misbehave or to not be responsible. But it's important that we watch for each other.
Completely.
And watch out for kids
That's
that
really
need an
it.
extra lesson.
And I think
it.
that honestly, that we are the ones that are going to set in, right? That responsibility.
Yes.
You know, we need to teach our kids because once they're away from home and they're doing their own thing, it's they're on their own.
Que Dios los
at
cuide.
that point.
Because we're not there
So
anymore.
we have to do just a better job of really explaining, right? Like what
Sí.
happens if you're distracted. You can not only kill someone, kill yourself. You know, it's horrible. Or like drinking and driving. You think that it's okay. Oh, I just took a little drink. It's fine.
I know.
I mean, it's not just up to the 18th year mark. It's like
yeah.
college.
Oh
Now
yeah,
it's
college is
worrisome.
also scary because we've
It's
been
scary,
there. We
yeah,
know what it is.
Yeah.
There's
It's
mom and dad are no
partying
longer
and-
watching you. Ya no te estoy
Right.
reportando.
Well,
I
you
still
know,
wanna track
now
them.
one of the
Not with this. I will be
Yes,
like on my
yeah,
fine.
still trying.
That's the thing. You have Life 360, right? And then you have other apps
Yeah.
that either can lock your phone while you're in the car or, you know, the Life 360 is funny. We have I think I've shared this story before, that we have a friend. We were out to dinner with them and their child is in another state in Colorado.
okay.
And he receives an alert on his phone saying that his child was in a car that was driving over 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
And
my
so
God.
picks
So
up the
wait
phone.
a minute. He wasn't driving. He was in the passenger seat, or he was actually driving.
She was in the passenger
And it
seat.
tells the parents how
Well,
fast.
her person is going at 100 miles an hour, right? And her phone is going at 100 miles an hour.
my
And
gosh.
so
It knows.
It
Oh,
knows.
wow.
And so
Okay,
it
that's-
alerted the parent. The parent calls right away and
Wow.
says, pass the phone
To the driver.
and says, you need to slow down right now.
Qué bueno, qué
and
bueno.
did the whole thing. I'm so sorry. They were getting to school. You know, I didn't realize I was going this, whatever it was. But he slowed down.
God, that's
Oh my God.
But
mortifying.
it's something that in our years, we would have never known, right? And now, because of this phone, yes, it's a distraction, but it's also help, right?
Yes.
And I know that there's apps to lock the phone while it's in the car.
True.
You know, so I think we just need to use the technology to our advantage and to their advantage, right? And to make sure that what they promise that they're going to do and the contract, right? Like it's either a physical contract or just a verbal contract. But that they follow those, that they abide by the rules that you're setting once they get the car. And let me tell you, I'm looking into technology and it's going to be all about it. You know, I'm using it to our advantage.
It's kind of like when we released the cell phone, you know, like, okay, first of all, who's paying for this gadget? Who's paying for the car?
Yeah.
So that means that there's going to be consequences. If you're not responsible with this car, if you end up like hitting someone, imagine, God forbid, that's like my biggest worry, that even I hit someone because, you know, a veces te cruzan. And, oh my God, the other day, this guy, this e-bike, this boy on an e-bike, salió de la nada. And I'm like, press the brakes. So that's what I think. Like, they digo las niñas, ven. But see, I have great reflexes.
Yeah.
That's what you need to learn. Because one thing is to learn driver's ed and book, but another thing is to be street smart and just be guarded. Like, and that's what's exhausting, girls. It's exhausting to drive now because before you just worry about yourself. Now you're watching everyone.
You have to.
And that's what concerns me with our teens. That I don't know if they're ready, and that only takes, it comes
That's
with
maturity.
time, experience.
Especially when you see them walk across the street in front of you, you're like, holy shit, she didn't even look both ways.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you.
What
Oh my
in
God,
the
yes.
hell?
Thank you.
Wait, I'm like, hey, did you even look both ways?
Right.
Thank you.
There's nothing coming.
And they're
I'm
looking
like,
down at their phone.
My God,
They're
that
looking
is
down at their
so
phone as
freaking
they're
scary.
crossing.
I
Yes.
always tell my daughter, listen, honey, many people have died because somebody runs a red light because they're coming, you know, pretty
Yes.
fast. So anytime you're at a red stoplight, when it turns green, don't go right away and always look right and left.
That's what I always
Give
do.
yourself 3 seconds. 1, 2, and 3. Look to the right. And we've caught at least 12 or 15 already, like flying through.
Yeah.
That could have been anybody.
Especially when
We've
those
seen
it's
accidents
avenues
also.
that are like Ventura.
big avenues.
This Ventura Boulevard is
the
a
left turns, right? All day long. You see
I even
accidents
worry
happening.
about the ladies with the strollers. You know,
Oh
they're
my
crossing,
gosh,
they
yes.
just, and they're in the right way,
Yes.
doing the right thing. But you see this car flying by, and it's como que Diosito protégelos. And it happens all the time.
All
La
the
gente
time.
viene distraída, viene dormida. And then, let's talk about setting examples as a parent, right? Because I'm sorry, I have to learn to control myself. But if I see a guy cut me off, if I see someone passing the red light, or if I see just like something that's not right, I start honking.
Yes.
I start honking.
Oh, you're the honker.
I'm a honker and a yeller and
I'm
a
the cursor.
yeah.
I'm a honker, G, hasta que ya me preocupa que ahora esta gente loca trae armas.
Yes.
Yeah.
So before I was a honker, you need to know, and I made
Yeah.
the kids know, like, that was their fault, and you're not supposed to do that.
Yes.
And I was that mom. But
And
now
that's
I'm
why I
like,
don't honk.
Now
I don't honk.
I don't
people
either.
are crazy. You know how it just takes for them to stop the car,
Yes,
come to
and
me,
get out.
and do something to me and my kids.
Yes.
It's happened.
Ya me controlo y nomás digo, Dios lo cuide. Y hasta, hasta le doy la bendición. Because van endemoniados. They got the devil inside.
I think anybody who yells and does that, like you guys you think you have such privilege because you don't think anything's gonna happen, right? I mean, I grew up in Gardena, girl. We don't honk. We don't honk.
You don't honk.
Oh, I've had incidents where you're honking and they get out of the car, you know, and
it's tough.
I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it.
Yeah, but
it's
no,
not worth it.
But you know when the chip changed? When I became a mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even
And when
more
I became
so.
mindful that they were being mindful, like, oh, mommy becomes a monster, like scary monster, scary
you
mommy.
okay? Scary
Pero
monster.
it's because it's the mother instinct to
Yes.
protect your kids.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Well, yeah, no, and you want to show them like what's right. Like you said, if somebody's like, my biggest pet peeve is like somebody doesn't pull up to the middle of the intersection when you're waiting for that to make that left
Thank
turn.
you.
Okay,
Thank you.
And I sit there and I'm like, come on, can you fucking move up to the front? You know, I'm like, oh, I've got 2 kids in the car. Or Sienna will be like, Mommy, why don't you honk at the car in front of you? Like, now she tells me. And I'm like, oh, whoops. Whoops.
Yes,
Meanwhile, I'm like, mija, pórtense bien en la escuela. Be kind to everyone. Motherfucker, put your left side, your turn signal on, you know?
Now all I do is talk under my breath. Somebody cuts me off. Go ahead, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know? I just like real softly with a smile. Like, go ahead, asshole. Go right ahead. I saw that. Go right ahead.
Or even catching people having road rage incidents like in front of your kids. And that's something else. That's a good teachable moment. Also, showing your kids like, look, no road rage because this can happen. See, this is happening right now.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants the parking space, just let them have the parking space.
Be the bigger person. Be the kinder person.
Like Michelle Obama says, when they go low, we go high. And you be the better person. And you
But
set
that
the
is a
example.
big lesson, right? That we have to teach the kids. And especially when they're younger, they're inexperienced. They're the ones that are probably going to be yelled at. And so they kind of have to say, I'm sorry. You know, like, I'm so sorry. Whenever something happens, and I remember just doing something that I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't see the car. And that they were like,
it's
going at me.
Yeah.
You know what? I go, I am so sorry.
You do
I put
this.
my hand to my chest, to my heart. And I said, I am so sorry, right? Because they can see. And at that point, they diffuse. Right? Because they just wanted you to acknowledge that it was your fault.
Yes.
As soon as you do.
I've done too.
I've done that too.
It diffuses.
Yes.
So sorry.
I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
And that's what we also need to teach the kids, you know? Like, have those moments where, you can communicate with the other drivers and express that you apologize, or just it's okay for you to go, or thank you, or whatever it is. But there's so many parts to it.
Okay, here's another very scary part. Let's say that you are on the road, right, on the freeway, and
Scenarios, I love it. Scenarios.
You get hit by a car. They say, you know what's been happening, right? They come up, you get out of the car, then they take off with your car, and they leave out in the middle of the road.
Okay.
So that's another thing that I've been talking to my daughter about. I'm like, listen, if you feel unsafe, you keep going.
Yeah.
Or you drive to the nearest police station or a public, area. But even then, all the weird things that are happening right now on the road.
Not even on the road, girl. In the
everything,
parking
it's
lot.
Scary. That's another layer of like worry that I have. Back in the day, I could ask any neighbor or any man in the road, hey sir, can you help me push the car? I wasn't even worried. Or maybe I was a little too lucky. But now, can you imagine?
No.
Just like having random
I wonder what
men
that
helping
statistic is, though.
That is wild.
We've talked about this, I think, when we feel like everything is just less safe now.
Yes.
But I think it's a little bit more safe than when we were growing up, because I think all of those, homicides and like carjackings, I think it was more prevalent back then, but we didn't have social media.
We didn't
You know what I mean? There was nobody videotaping these incidents that would
now
go
you
viral.
see it all because
And now you're freaking out because it feels like you see 4 of them and they're all over the country, right? But it feels like they're in your neighborhood.
So I wonder
right?
what the statistics
I'm not
are.
sure what that is, but
because
that doesn't mean you shouldn't be aware and you shouldn't still be careful.
But you know what? I think what freaks me out is that I see a lot of movies. So I'm even afraid of parking next to a van.
Yeah.
Even like yesterday, I went to Target and I was about to park and I'm like, oh shoot, van. I'm scared of even going in my car y que alguien se meta luego, which happened to me once, by the way.
Ooh,
at Target.
Scary.
I was like, I got in and I was waiting for, I was on the phone, us moms, we're like, returning tax. Y de repente no entró un señor. Like literally, he opened the door.
Oh my God.
Came in and I was like, ah!
Yeah.
Like I literally screamed y él también gritó. And he's like, oh my God, ma'am, I am so sorry.
Oh, okay.
I am so
He got
sorry.
in the wrong car.
I thought I'm in the wrong car. Like he was also, I don't know, somebody dropped him off and he got in the wrong car.
Okay, wrong car.
Pero eso it sparked like it could happen with maliciousness, with evilness. So I tell the girls as soon as when you drive, as soon as you're in the car, lock your door like immediately and don't park next to a van. I just feel like someone can just, especially because they're young and beautiful, and, these teens and they're very clueless or maybe just distracted.
Distracted.
Que se me figura que sometimes just, like, como está el mundo, like, you know, ¿cómo le llaman? Secuestro express?
Yes.
Just to get
Oh my
money.
gosh.
Oh
Like,
my
that
gosh,
scares
yeah.
me. And I'm not imagining that, like, this stuff is happening, girls.
Yes.
It's happening.
It is.
Sporadically, but it's happening.
Yeah.
So I stay away from those vans as
And then
well.
other things we need to teach our kids, which we don't like think about, but like even like being responsible, like making sure they have gas in their car,
Thank
like
you.
not waiting till it's empty, you know, and
Like
getting
me,
stranded.
that's me sometimes.
Again, going by example, checking the oil. I don't check the
Jamás
oil.
en la vida
I don't
yo.
check the oil in my
You don't
car.
even do that, exactly.
No, but like it's
But
just
yeah.
funny. But they're just things that you need to teach your kids.
Exactly.
And maybe us having girls, we should teach them how to change a tire.
No.
Come on,
I'm
remember?
against that. Oh,
You
God,
are?
I am.
Just call it AAA.
Yeah.
I used to change
Triple
tires.
AAA.
Yes.
Now our kids have AAA.
It's
That's
it's
true.
just too
That's true.
dangerous to
Very.
be on the side of the road
Very.
changing
Oh, yeah.
the tire. They
Yeah.
actually
Oh, yeah,
recommend
and
not
little
to.
girl,
But
especially
back
our
in the day, it
girls.
was useful. Like,
Yes.
I had mechanics,
Yeah.
so I learned how to change the tire.
Because nobody would come to you.
There was
Yeah.
no,
Unless
And
it
no
was
cell
a
phones.
random,
That's true.
car that was coming by that
That's
would stop.
true.
But now we do have,
Road
AAA.
assistance.
And
Every
road
car,
assistance.
yes,
has
that's
road
true.
assistance
Exactly.
now.
That's true.
Most car companies.
Just call
so-
road assistance. But look at how, just talking about learning
Yeah.
how the basics.
Yeah.
Remember that beautiful trip we had last year with the girls to Laguna?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
What happened when we were on our way back, Coma?
Oh, yeah.
My car started to overheat, ¿verdad? The engine.
light, it was smoking a little bit.
We freaked out. Y yo, no
What
sé
is
qué
this?
hacer. Let
What
me
is
call
this?
Omar.
Oh, yes.
Depend
I'm
on a
like-
guy. And like, I got to call Omar for something. And what did he say? Just open the manual.
Yeah.
Coma, Mindy saved the day.
I took over. I'm
she
like,
said,
just pull
Coma,
aside, go to the gas
I
station.
think it's the cooler.
Rolled up her
Yeah.
sleeves.
She
I
rolled
love
up her
it.
sleeves,
Yeah.
opened up the
love
hood.
Yeah.
It was a coolant, huh?
Yes.
And I was scared, like, I
You're
was
like, well, coolant what? I go, okay, so we're going to go in. I even ran into the convenience store, the gas
Right?
station,
Yeah.
and I looked for the coolant. I said, here it is. Here's a picture of it. Just go back in there, purchase it. We'll get a funnel. We'll put it in. You're going to be fine. She's like, oh, my God.
Well, we didn't get a funnel.
But
we
you
didn't
know
get a
what?
funnel.
That's
we went to
a skill.
Starbucks and got a cup and made a little
that's
hole.
right.
You did. You
Yeah,
see?
That was good. I like
See,
that.
you're MacGyver.
I love it.
I was MacGyver.
Yes, I said, let's do this.
Yeah.
No worries. We let the car cool down.
We went
were
to
back on-
Starbucks.
We went to Starbucks when we're back on the road. I said,
And you guys
this
were
is
home
what I
already.
learned in mechanics.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true.
She
it's great.
saved the day. Because
Yes.
I could have called road assistance y hubiera igual salido caro. Wait
The
hours.
wait was like an hour and a half or something.
You know what? One thing I hate doing: putting air in my tires.
Oh, yeah, me
I
too.
hate that. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
just pull up to a tire shop.
I don't know how to
and
do
I
that.
just go,
Yo no sé.
"Hi,
Oh,
can
I've
you
done it
check
many
the air on my tires?"
I think there's a gadget, an app where it tells you, because I have a cousin that does that. And I'm like, how do you put in tires?
Oh, here's a tip.
Without
Here's
que
a
no
tip
explote la
that I
llanta.
found out.
Yeah.
That
No,
I found
Tesla
out
tells you.
having
It's on the
to
side. It's on
learn
the side
this.
of your door.
It is.
don't know,
It's on the
girl.
side of your
I've
door.
never done it.
So if you open your door, there is the
Little sticker, like a
yes,
little
there's
label.
a sticker that tells you the air pressure for your tires.
Yes.
So you know exactly if it's
But
a
you know,
40 or
most cars will
45.
let you know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about your cars. I'm sure they're very modern.
See,
And
I've never had
Well,
to
it'll
put in
tell
air.
you. Mine warns me.
It'll just tell me tire low, but it won't tell me like how much.
Girl, when I get that notification, I'm like, Galpin!
Yeah,
I
that's what
call
I mean.
Galpin and I bring it in and I'm like, can I
Yes.
give you
Take us a
care of
little
it?
tip.
What?
If you stop at any tire shop, they will fill your car.
That's
your
what I just
car
said.
air.
That's what I just said.
Anyone.
That's what I just said.
free?
I go to any tire shop and I'm like, "Hi,
Yeah.
can you fill my tires
No,
up?"
y
And they
así
do.
con esas botas, ¿quién no?
I know.
Ay, con ese look.
especially
Oye,
the
but
big,
Costco
the big
does that
tire
too,
shop.
right? I think Costco has that
Any
for
tire
any
shop.
tire
Like
shop.
I said, I just go into
They do.
anyone. It doesn't
Okay.
even matter if I bought my tires there or I've been there before. If I'm just driving down like Laurel Canyon, I see a tire shop and I pull in and
Now, don't go to the mom and pop tire shops because they're too busy to even handle you. Go to the big ones, the big chain
Yeah.
of tire shops.
Okay,
you
okay,
go,
okay.
you go in like U.S. Tires.
Yeah,
or,
yeah,
Outlet.
yeah,
You
Firestone,
go in there
whatever.
and they actually have a line
That's a great tip.
specifically to fill up tires, and you just say, "Oh, I got my tires a while back." If they ask you if you're a client, a customer, and then they will fill them up to the. They open your door. They look at the the PSI they call it. I think it is. And they fill them up for free, and you're back on the road. You never even have to get out of your car.
That's what I'm
awesome.
saying. I'm like, I hate touching that little thing, that little knob.
Yo nunca
like,
lo he hecho.
Pulling the.
You never
the
done it.
cord.
I
No.
definitely
No.
have.
No, Omar
Let's-
does
let's
it.
face
or-
it.
I
or
used to.
Galpin.
Let's
Not
face it,
anymore.
girls. We don't like to do.
I don't want to get my nails all black
We
and
don't like to
dirty.
do shit. We don't like to
no.
pump gas.
For being
But
honest.
you
We
don't do
know
anything.
how to if you had to. And
Yeah.
that is
I
important
can do
too.
my own gas.
Yeah.
That's
Girls, I was
fine.
not a Girl
But-
Scout, so a mí esas cosas ama ahí. Omar o Galpin o un
No,
hombre,
I'm
un
not a
hombre.
grease monkey. That is That's for sure. I don't like touching greasy
don't.
things or dirty things. No. I have
no te
no.
hagas. Dirty things I don't like touching.
She doesn't like to
I
touch
call
dirty.
bullshit on that. Okay, you do like touching dirty things.
Is that how we're ending this episode? Is that how we're ending
Well,
this
how about
episode?
we end it
Yeah,
with like,
yeah.
you know, there's been so many, there's stress points, right? We
Yes.
talked about all the stress points and all of our collective like history, which leads to those stress points, right? Because we know what we did and we know how, you know, our struggles and everything that we got, our trouble that we got into.
Our
And so,
sneakiness.
yeah, our sneakiness, all of it. So now when we are getting ready for our kids to go through this phase of their life, it's really hard. So maybe what is an advice that you would give to other moms on how to bring down the stress? What do you do that helps you bring down that stress?
We don't know. We never been through it.
I know we haven't been through it yet. Mindy hasn't really been through
Well,
it yet.
Wait a
Just the
year.
thought
Wait a
of
year.
it.
I'll tell you what I did.
What I can say, I think I know. Yes, I know what you're saying. As a driver, since 20, really, which is when I started to drive finally, I can say, and I've only been in 2 accidents, by the way, and they've never been my fault. But still, I know I'm bound to be in one day. Again, hopefully it's just by myself, right? But I think of everything I've seen and lived, I'm a very proud driver. I have to say, I think I'm a good driver.
No, I think you drive like an old lady.
Sí, yo sé. I knew she was going
That
to say
can
that.
cause some serious
Es que
accidents. I'm like,
depende.
oh my God.
Es que no me has visto sola. Cuando estoy sola, sí me desato un poco.
Yes, we had the kids in the car. Yes, she
Exacto.
was extra
Solita
careful.
sí me desato. El otro día me
Oh.
desaté and I was like, oh, RG, who are you now? Because I'm so used to being the girls or having someone in the car, especially my mom. And so I think that's why I'm a good driver. But the thing is that I've also learned how to be more patient. So being patient, I think, is the key of why I'm also just like, you know what, let me take this driving experience as an experience. Let me listen to my music. Let me listen to our podcast or another podcast. Like if I'm going to be stuck on the road for 2 hours, I don't want to be here fighting with someone that's crazy
Right.
because I know you're going to run into a loony. You're always going
Yes.
to run into someone. So just be patient with time, be patient with whoever crosses your path, and be patient with las viejitas.
Sí.
Sometimes we're so hard. Mira, me ha pasado
wait, is-
that I'm like,
okay.
ay, vas bien despacio. You think I'm slow.
Yeah.
Ay, bien despacio la seño.
Yeah.
And then like, oh,
You go around.
Diosito, perdóname, es una viejita. Because guess
Yeah.
what? That's going to be us one day, girls. Because I want to be
Yes.
driving at 80.
Yes.
Mi suegra tiene 85 años. Bueno,
She's
ya
still
va
driving.
86. La mujer todavía maneja.
Wow.
That's
And she had passed her test. And she's, you know what? I want to be her.
Yeah.
I want to be her. And so kindness and patience.
So based on that and all of our learned experiences and everything that we've been through, right? Like what's something now that we're going to definitely do with our kids?
Right.
Yeah, right? Like what are we going to do differently now with everything that we've learned and everything that we've read and knowing all the statistics and like, Mindy, what are you going to do differently or what are you definitely going to do with
gotta-
this?
I
You're
got-
the one that's already in the thick of
Okay,
it.
I gotta tell you, I was in absolute shock when we started looking for insurance. Forget about the car, okay? The
Yeah.
car is one thing, right?
Yeah.
You pick out the car that you can afford, the monthly payment and all that good stuff. But then you have to also check how much insurance will cost for that car.
Oh my gosh, insurance.
So in most cases, teenagers, because you're a teenager and they get into a lot of accidents,
Yeah.
the insurance will be more than the car.
That's crazy.
So we're looking at payments of anywhere from $700 all the way to over $1,000
A month?
for car
Get
insurance.
out.
I'm not joking.
Just for that
Yeah.
kid.
Just for that
Uber
one.
For
credits
that one
would be
person.
cheaper.
I know.
Uber will be cheaper. Now, this is something to look at. Now, the more expensive the car,
yeah.
the more. Like if you know that you buy them
Yeah.
A nicer car.
a very older car,
Yeah.
maybe decent, but
Yeah.
older, then, the insurance will be a lot cheaper.
Okay.
But it's really something to think about.
Yeah.
For all those parents that are going to plan to get their teenagers' cars.
Holy
Look out for
moly.
that.
I didn't even
Look out
think
for
about
that.
and
that.
obviously,
It's so true.
which is, I'm assuming that when you started to drive back in the day, our
That wasn't the
parents
case.
didn't get
We didn't
insurance.
we didn't have insurance.
Well, I got insurance, but
Liability.
It
It
was
was just
liability.
liability. That was it.
Yeah.
But it didn't cover like a lot. It was
Yeah.
just like if you hit somebody else, right? And that
Yeah.
it would cover that car. But what
Exactly.
about your
Right.
car and then your life and then medical bills if any?
Yes.
Everything.
Right.
So many things to think about.
So I'm gonna piggyback on that one because that's something I think I would do different.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of money, so for me it's like was liability. That's the only thing I can afford. Now with the way things are, it's like give me everything, bells and whistles. You know, I need to
Yes.
make sure that everyone's covered because, God forbid, one of our kids, pues atropella una persona, and what is that going to look like? And so I'm definitely going to be all about insurance. I mean, this country, you need to have insurance for everything.
Everything.
La verdad. It's we're just like walking in danger. So that's a great tip. I'm going to look into insurance and make sure that we get the best program.
And this is why a lot of parents don't buy their teenagers new cars. Think about that. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, why would you want to buy
or
sorry.
sports cars?
My kid needs to earn a new car.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have my kid have a car that's a couple years older.
I think gently used, as long as it's decent.
Yes.
Y que no se le caigan las llantas. I mean, there's so many like...
A safe car.
Yeah,
a safe car. That's the other thing.
That's really
that
should be it. I think that would be an advice. Don't go for brands. Let's not give our kids, as it is. I know it's a generation that they're growing up with brands and the importance of brands, but no, it's about your life.
Yes.
And it's about also being logical, and it's about earning it. We're giving you a car to get to school.
Yeah.
And to come back home.
Yeah.
We're not giving you a car to go party on the weekend because you want to go to a party, I'll drive you. And I'll pick you up because, you know, you just never know. That's another topic for another day. The parties of today are so different from the parties of the little flyer.
Yes.
These Instagram parties and Snapchat parties, that's what we need to talk about that.
Yes.
So for me, it's like from the get-go, you're going to get a car, you're going to earn it, you're going to be responsible, and you're going to sign a contract in the house. And it's only for these purposes.
Yeah.
No es como que ahorita vengo, voy al mall.
No.
Espérenme.
School and work.
Because who's paying and who's gassing up?
Yeah.
And give me the grades. And then
You know they're going to go to the mall, though.
You're
We're
getting
lying to ourselves.
We're
lying to ourselves.
but
they're going to live at Sephora.
No,
Let's be
they're going to need
honest
to
here.
tell me where to go. And this is, I think, it leads up to how I'm feeling. And I think something that I'm going to do with my stress and my learned experience and everything that I Google, right? It's a contract.
Yes.
And so I need to be very, very clear that these are the rules of you driving so that they're clear and I'm clear and the consequences of breaking those rules. And the second thing is Life 360 or a similar app that maybe by the time they're driving is even better. But those kinds of apps like track their analytics while they're driving. They tell you if they're on their phone. While they're driving. And it also tells you where they are. It literally tracks them.
Genius.
And it tells you how fast they're going.
Yes.
So all of these things
If they have a boy in the car, will it tell you?
I know.
Oh my God.
that is the next step, Coma. That is the next step. Yes.
If the car is getting steamy,
Ya veo a Mindy buscando el carro las manitas. Titanic. If I see those freaking fingers,
I know, like,
you are losing the car for a month.
Las patitas.
That's maybe because we borrowed it for a weekend.
Las patitas.
Las patitas.
You've been there, you know.
No, not in the car.
We all have stories, dear.
No.
Did we jump that
No.
chapter about the stories in the car?
We jumped that chapter.
We're not going to leave that.
I'm not gonna. No, nothing happened in my car.
Es como decía mi
Forget
abuela.
that the back seat would go down. No,
We have to wait for Mindy's app
nothing,
to come out.
Yeah,
We need to
nada
work
pasaba.
on it. Yeah, we have to wait for Mindy's
Es
app.
que mi abuela decía que para todo hay mañas. Y sí, I know that you said, of course they're going to be at Sephora, but you know, if they break the rules, we're going to find out. Remember, we're moms and our instinct doesn't lie. We know when they're going to break the rule. We're going to catch them because we have eyes behind our head.
And we have
And
the
we've
app.
already did it.
Yes. Y mira,
We've already been there,
la
done that.
clásica, cuando tú vas, yo ya vengo y 2
Yes.
meses. You know, a mí no me la haces.
Oh yeah, and I think now you can even like install cameras in the car too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and
So
you
that's
can watch
something
your
different.
child.
Yeah.
That's something
That's
different.
a little too invasive,
Yes.
though. Come on, guys. The car's in the car.
I don't know.
What's next, Dee?
Well, it could be on the contract, right? If you fail to do this, the way you can get your car back is if you know, there's like levels, right? Like if your kid is doing everything that they're supposed to and that they're following the rules, you know, there's a little bit of a trust because of what we said. We have to let them grow.
I know.
We have to let them be independent. That is what we are trying to raise, right?
Yes.
We're trying to raise children who are independent.
Of course.
But, you know, todo con cuidado.
I
like,
think
you
we're
know,
worried
like
because we were
guardrails.
sneaky. That's what makes us extra
Claro, por
worried.
eso
'cause we-
dije, cuando
we
ellos
were
van,
freaking
nosotros ya
sneaky,
venimos.
right?
We've
Yeah.
been there, done it.
Yes.
We know. We
Yes.
know
We
what's
know
going to
too much.
happen.
Absolutely.
And we have to be like, okay, they're teens, but let them be teens. But we got to teach them responsibility. We can't be
Absolutely.
rewarding them with a
Yeah.
nice car when we know that they're
We
breaking
still have to keep them in line.
rules.
Totalmente. I think
Okay.
that the biggest takeaway from this, girls, honestly, is that of course we're moms and we're always going to be moms, and they can be 50 and my mom to this day worries. Siempre que la dejo,
Sí.
mándame un texto cuando llegues a casa. Literally.
Yes.
No puedo yo llegar a casa y no, I have to text her, Mom, ya llegué a casa. That's going to be me.
Oh, estar en el carro y no tan recio, mija.
Sí.
Slow down, mija.
So we're
Slow
always
down.
going to be moms.
yeah.
I think
Yeah,
the
I
thing
think
here
so.
is, the question was, are our kids ready to drive? The question now is, are we ready to let them drive? It's separation anxiety
Yes.
at its finest. And we just have to be able to trust them, trust our gut, and trust Jesus.
Diosito.
God. Lord.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Take the wheel, God. Take the wheel. I think that's really it.
Bless our
Yeah.
kids.
Y que Dios los encomiende. I know. Y ya, ¿qué más
La
podemos
bendición.
hacer?
Let go and let God.
Let go
right?
and let God. La bendición como buenas latinas que somos.
And the contract and the app.
And the contract and the
Y un
app.
rosario. Un rosario colgando
Oh,
in the
yes.
rearview mirror.
Tell me you're Latina without telling me you're Latina. El rosario, el agua. I have agua bendita in my car.
We're going
I've
to
always
shower
had-
that car with the,
Yeah.
with that
Everything.
holy
And
water.
picture la Virgencita or one of those like
Everything.
stick on the top of the car.
Right. Girl,
Yeah,
my
the bobblehead
keychain.
Virgencita.
My keychain is la Virgen de San Juan.
Yeah.
My keychain is la Virgen de San Juan. You guys
love
need
that.
agua bendita, come to my car.
Okay.
Y llevamos al Padre también a bendecirles
Sí,
el carro. ¿Eh?
sí.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes,
we
all
will
of
do
it,
that.
all of it,
All
all
of
of
the
it,
above.
because we're Mexican. That's what we do. That's
Should
what
we
we do.
invite our comadritas to share their experiences too?
Please, I want to
Please.
hear what you guys have experienced. Maybe share with us what we have
Do you
to
guys
wait.
have teenagers,
Yes.
right, that are currently learning how to drive, and how are you handling it?
Are we too
Also, what's the best insurance?
también? Or are
Any
we
tips?
Are we too extra? No. Probably not. Y eso sí, nunca tomar.
No.
Yeah.
Nunca.
No, no,
Never.
no.
Not even us. So,
Agua,
pero aquí
agua.
sí,
No.
pura agüita bendita.
Never drink and
Agüita.
drive.
I love
Agua,
this
for
episode,
sure.
girls. So, comadita, que te
Yes.
vaya bien. Ahí nos
I know.
cuentas.
I know.
I will. I'll have an update in about 6 months.
Yes.
All
We're gonna do
right,
that.
here we
Good.
go.
For the
Love
next
it.
season.
We love you, comadritas.
Love you guys.
See you next
Don't
time.
forget to
See ya.
subscribe.
Yes.
See you later. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We'd love to see your reviews and hear your thoughts. You can also follow Comadres Unfiltered on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for more updates. New episodes every Tuesday. Until next time, comadritas.